I thought about it as well because game number 2 in the draft, I talked about how Euphoria Esports, if they find a way to slow the bleeding from the Fanny, they are going to be all good. And GPX, even though Fanny was so good in the early stage of the game, he wasn't able to get that snowball coming from Ray to completely destroy Euphoria Esports compared to how game 1 when he was given this huge lead on that Martis, which completely went out of control. So adaptations definitely needs to be made. Euphoria Esports, they are going to respect the Martis, ban it off. They are going to respect maybe the Valentina. Yes, it is going to be taken out away from GPX. These are the two crucial heroes that completely destroyed Euphoria Esports in game number 1. This time not giving into them. GPX also going to be sticking to Faramis here. Game 1, Faramis was banned. Game 2, there is a reason why Faramis needs to be banned at this stage. But GPX, this time, they're not going to get the Fredrin for themselves, and Euphoria is going to stick it down for themselves, and GPX is back towards the drawing board as well. Game 2, they didn't care about the Fredrin. They didn't prioritize that. This time, do they find a way to deal with it? Because the question here is, if they still go for the Fanny again, chances are they need to figure out on how to deal with the adaptations coming from Euphoria Esports.
And game 2, they did ban the Kaja. This time Kaja was led through as well, so maybe that's a priority that GPX is looking for. When we look at the Fredrin, Eve seems to be one of the few options that you can directly pick as a response thanks to the real-world manipulation. GPX have a big decision to make. Kaja and Glue to open things up. There's great front line, a lot of pick potential. And you know, GPX definitely kicking the draft off with a slightly different approach, but the fact that they got the Kaja gives them a lot of value.
I feel like Benedetta is something that they did not respect a little bit too much. We know for a fact that Glue is really, really strong. Glue was pretty much banned in the previous game, but GPX, they know for the fact they needed somebody to zone the lane, right? They picked the Yujong to deal with the Faramis in game number 2, but at the expense where Yujong doesn't necessarily have the tankiness like other XP laners do, like Lapu Lapu, like Glue, maybe even to a certain degree, I think it was the Edith. No, not Edith. What was the right here? Benedetta. Sorry, yeah. Benedetta is great for zoning the back lines here. So in this case, GPX, they have a Glue, it's better, but Euphoria, they are going to stick with the Benedetta so far. We've seen in multiple MPL regions here that Benedetta has started to make a little bit more comeback for the XP lane, and it is very frustrating to deal with. It's so mobile, it's tanky, it threatens kill threat potential as well compared to any other XP laners. GPX now has a big problem. They have catch potential, but do they have the damage to one-shot either the Freddy or Benedetta? Because time and time again, in Game 1, Game 2, we've seen a lot of conditions where Fredrin, a chunk down towards the last tick at the moment, cannot be finished off. And a lot of teams can't seem to figure it out, and especially for marksmen as well. There are not a lot of marksmen that can chunk through tanky compositions, except for carry, or maybe pure damage compositions. But the problem here is, there has been changes for the Halberd in the recent patch. But that change is not necessarily enough.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I was wondering, is this a time where we see GPX whip out the Leslie again? We're talking about tank shredders, right? So it's a very, very niche option. It's an option that I personally wouldn't go down. But if you want kind of a direct answer, maybe that's what GPX were looking for. So far, they have long-range artillery, decent long-range artillery with the Farsa. Into Eve, it's very, very common. But again, you don't have the same ways to stop this Benedetta like you did in Game 2 with the Grok. This time it's just a Kaja, and that Divine Judgment can only do so much. And it is a spell that Benedetta can actually deal with if you get the timing right.
Well, before we get into that timing here, I think you talked about potentially the Leslie pickup. It feels like based on the win rate coming for both teams, Beatrix pretty much had a 100% win rate for both games. Yeah. So technically, they are going to try and prioritize on the Beatrix a little bit more. GPX still hovering, giving a little bit of an illusion that they are still hovering towards the Fanny pickup. So they are going to ban off the Brody, potentially burning off the Leslie as well. One of the very few heroes actually deal with the Fanny. But what's really surprising is that Euphoria Esports, despite having a Beatrix, had no issues dealing with the Fannies coming from GPX. So I like that they were going for this, but they are banning the Kufra, doubling down and saying that, hey, I'm playing the Fanny again. Euphoria Esports, do they... they faked the ban. Nicely done, because this is where it opens things up a little bit more for the Beatrix secure for GPX.
And you can see GPX just all smiles. The moment the Fanny Band comes out, they instantly snatch the B-Tricks. Euphoria right now, again, not knowing what GPX wants to go for. They've eliminated the threat of the Fanny, but I don't think that was ever the plan for GPX. Now they get to see once more what Euphoria wants to go with for the last 2 picks before they decide on the jungler. And honestly now, all cards are on the board. You don't have a Kufra, you've already wasted Euphoria's ban on that Fanny. GPX have full reign of what they want for the jungle.
I like how GPX is playing this here. They intentionally let it off so that they can open up the hero pool for this final moment. Game 1, Game 2, no Kufra bans, no Kufra picked as well. So this is something that GPX is saving up as well. Could this be the potential Freya jungle? But as of now, Euphoria Esports, they bring in the Cho tank coming from Euphoria Esports and the Moskov to deal with the Beatrix. So I'm curious here, what jungler is so good that GPX has to, as of yet, I don't know. They want to go for Paquito. It might be a case as well, Paquito jungle. It might be, maybe, I want to,
Oh yeah, there's the Archive.
Alright, fine. Archive was completely, okay, Archive was banned in the second phase of game number 2. So with this fake, they secure the Archive for themselves. So
it feels like an either or, right? Like if you don't ban Archive, we probably will get the Fanny anyways. We talk about kind of the lack of tanks. Or like
I think the intention from that final ban was that we don't want to pay the Fanny. We sucked at Fanny in game number 2.
We never wanted the Fanny.
We wanted the Archive. We bait out the Kufra to force you to ban the Fanny and then pick the Archive. This is so smart coming from GPX.
And it was a pick that I think Euphoria, they actually did their homework. When we look at the head-to-head, Archive was a huge thing for GPX. It's a hero that we haven't seen for a long, long time. We see it a bit in the open finals and afterwards it's just weaned off. Right now, back in the draft, in the most important game of this upper bracket series. If GPX wins this, or whoever wins this, goes in the top 4.
Yeah, it is going to be a difficult one, but the question is, even though they got the fake out with the Fanny, this Archive, is it going to be enough to help GPX secure the W, being the first team in the upper bracket finals? You gotta stick around to find out because this is a very important match for the prize of the nation. This is game number 3 for Euphoria Esports versus GPX. Philippines versus Indonesia.
Well, Euphoria Esports have drawn blood once. Now the question is, can they do it again? Off to a great start to get that flicker out of Fredo QT. Just Yoshi got... They've kind of adapted from throughout the entire series. They're getting the movement read so right. And Fredo QT not on the Grockies this time, so it means that you won't see as much pressure as the first 2 games. And you can also look at the bot side, right? Headscott just cutting that wave, being so much more mobile than this glue, giving himself so much more room, just making these early rotations and making sure that Euphoria is not threatened.
Oh my goodness, Euphoria now taking a little bit more aggression. You can see GPX feeling a little bit more confident compared to game number 1. And the question here is, they needed some people to zone out. At this time, GPX sticking with the triple tank composition, it is going to give them a little bit more room to open up the map. Because if you think about it, in contrast to Euphoria Esports, Benedetta not as tanky as a glue. Cho not necessarily as tanky as a Archive nor a glue. So in this case, in terms of overall tankiness, GPX has a slight upper edge in terms of overall tankiness, whereas a Kaja is pretty much mirrored to a Cho.
And Benedetta, well, you are more mobile than the glue, you can cut waves, but you can't really kill the glue alone. Yoshi got not having the ultimate, so you can't really kick Fredo QT away, but it does create pressure around this turtle pit. Euphoria Esports having 4 members around. GPX, do you want to contest this? So far it seems like that's the intention, but they found Ray in the jungle, and that's a lot of pressure. Heavy's being forced out, he's moving towards the turtle, they pin him down, but it's actually going to be Fredo QT that takes the turtle out of everyone. Even finding the first round to Ryujin, they use the stick onto this Fredrin. Venobot goes down, Euphoria Esports botching this attempt. GPX walks away with all men alive.
Oh my goodness, that should not have happened coming from Euphoria Esports here. They started off with Ryujin God kind of stunning and shoving Ray here, and both of them didn't kind of messed up the retribution timing, but little did they know that Ray didn't exactly have the retribution, and while that's actually happening, they just forced the fight, and Euphoria just panic fight all the way through. Having Fredo QT stealing the turtle bar means GPX will have a little bit more lead to actually contest this fight. So I'd say it was pretty much GPX just, playing something that Euphoria kind of overthink.
It's a bit of a disaster for Euphoria. Didn't get any kills in return, and they were doing a pretty decent job in forcing Ray away. He even used that heavy spin preemptively. Couldn't get close to the turtle, and Euphoria still couldn't secure it. Now GPX putting pressure up top. Using the Feather Airstrike, Yoshi got threatening it, so they cancel that ultimate, but they have no way to get on top of what, and as long as Feather QT is around, he always had that Divine Judgment.
Yeah, this is where things get a little bit spicy as well, because now you can see the glue is starting to actually cut the free wave, and logically speaking, we expect his god to kind of mirror this up, but considering that having this glue, having a 2-kill advantage and a level advantage, it's hard for him to mirror, because if he does that, he is going to risk giving even more XP to this glue, which eventually glue is going to have a huge lead to completely cut the backlines of Euphoria Esports. So he is going to try and threaten him, deny as much as possible, and then eventually trying to wrap around and play comeback for Euphoria Esports.
And the fact that both kills went to this glue means that he got such a big head start. You see the network chart also, he is basically 400 gold, not too much ahead of this Benedetta, but for a glue, it's worth so much. Now he can hold the lane on his own, he's demanding more attention from Euphoria. They're trying to get onto him. Ziri still has the split to work with. He's trying to buy time for his jungler to arrive. They use the real manipulation. Ziri is still getting out. They use the Petrify. Ziri just flickers away. They cannot get it. The Electro Final Blow even used. And Ziri sticks on the his god. Now he's going to get his health back. His god in no man's land. GPX, the cavalry has arrived. They're just going to go for a turtle. Venom god pinned to the wall, pushed away. Still couldn't get the turtle, but this time it's actually Yoshi god that gets it for his team. Both teams of Roamers have stolen the turtle.
What is that? Both junglers pretty much out-timing their Wave the Dragons, and now with the Divine Judgment coming in on Yoshi God. Oh my goodness, that's not the right target. Both junglers pretty much overthinking a little bit more, but it is as close as it gets, and seeing how this every single engagement, you can see both teams just going all in. Ziri once again, the point of interest. A little bit of an awkward position. Is he
No way.
No way. He's not dead. No way. He survives.
His god didn't commit to the kill also. He had the Electro Final Blow, clears the wave with it, thinking that Venom God got the kill, but in fact that was not the case. They should be able to get this bot tier 1, but the fact that Ziri survived 2 times in a row, it's a big deal for GPX.
Oh, mistakes were made from Euphoria Esports, right? Like, it all came down to that decision. They needed to kill on Ziri, but the turtle was being contested as well. They need to make a decision. Commit the turtle or commit to Ziri. In this case, the moment they split up the fight, things went perfectly south for them, and GPX just continuing with their lead as of now. And you can see Yoshi he's got to set up those amazing kicks, and so far, he doesn't have Flicker. He may have to wave the dragon, but GPX has ways to deal with it as of now, and the crash comes in.
There we go, the kidnap is there. He's onto Yoshi God. Couldn't get a kick out, but one was actually assassinated by his god. He went straight to the back line. Get the taunt onto Ray. GPS can't really follow up, and Ray also forced to leap away. Venogod still pretty healthy. Both teams trading, but Euphoria Esports got the better end of it.
Very awkward appraiser's draft coming from Venogod. Not sure where he was aiming. But GPX, they get out scot-free. Easy takedown as well. And it was desperate of Yoshi God to actually going for the kick, but in the hands of Akaja, that is a potential hard Divine Judgment lockdown. And it is going to be very hard to time those Shunpo to dodge that interaction. So that is pretty much a guaranteed pull coming in. However, third turtle coming in contrast as well. Finally, the kick comes in.
Forcing Creepwood to get away. Electro Final Blow. His god in a dangerous position, was able to get away, and Creepwood almost goes down. Now Ray pops the heavy spin. Candies to get a turtle this time. It's Venogod. Good on the retribution. Ray couldn't get it.
Oh, it's going to be tough as well, but great outplay coming from Euphoria Esports as well. Baits out the Feathered Airstrike, completely takes out the kill threat coming from GPX, and because of this, this gives Euphoria Esports the room that they finally need, despite the countless lead coming from GPX. And now, you can see his god, he's finally getting that respect coming in from Ziri now. And even though we've got Glue, who has been in the lead, with his god currently in a little bit more level advantage, he is going to have a little bit more room to continue pressuring the side lanes, where GPX, they are going to have a little bit more of a problem, because every single time they force a fight, there is a risk it is going to be a 5v4 instead of a 5v5, because of the fact that Glue doesn't have the mobility as quickly as Benedetta. Meanwhile, bottom lane,
Watt knows that they're coming for him. Only has Fredo QT with him. Can Watt outplay this one? Yoshi God just going to flicker into a kick, securing the kill for himself, not giving Watt a single chance to get away. Fredo QT now also forced to run. Electro Final Blow onto him. Petrify not used by his god. Not confident that he can secure that one. But the fact that they got Watt is good enough.
Yeah, this is huge. This is huge for Euphoria Esports. And at the same time as well, this is what I'm talking about, right? They had the whole team on from inside Euphoria Esports, and as soon as that fight was pretty much over, Glue just got here and it became a 4v5. And this is the problem that GPX is starting to face here, because eventually Euphoria Esports is going to be able to outmaneuver this. They need to find an opportunity where they can group up as 5, get a pick-off around Fredo QT, and it's going to be even hard to do so because as of yet, Euphoria, they're just so fast.
GPX have not been able to keep up with Euphoria much, and you can see Euphoria actually got the goalie in their favor this time. Mere 1,200, and GPX can't even camp the brush.
Oh, that is so unfortunate. Even the Spear scouts out the rotation, means Euphoria know perfectly well what the heck they're doing, and now they show themselves all grouped up as 5 in the middle. That means top lane is going to get shoved from the side of Euphoria Esports, and GPX, they have no contrast for this, but they force a Divine Judgment.
Flicker used as well, but the kick comes through in time for the QT. Is it going to be worth it? They trade both roamers. GPX at least getting something in return, but Euphoria right now taking control. The Lord Pit Venom God goes in. 2-man taunt. Ziri in danger. They're going to do a lot of damage to his God. Completely shredded by what? Euphoria Esports overestimating underestimating what GPS could do. Ryujin God also forced away Venom God. You don't really want to be in the Lord Pit. Not when Ziri is around. He's going to go on forward, get the taunt off what onto him as well. Backup is not really dead. Venom God just fully commits. And Prison's Wrap so close. One flicker still goes down. Venom God, an absolute beast of his own. The force of nature from Euphoria. Able to get out of it. Ray working on the Lord is dropping low. Meanwhile, top tier 2 goes down. Venom God still alive. Can Ray get the turtle? This is important for GPX. And yes, he does. Wow, it's the Lord actually that goes over to GPX. Euphoria somehow keeping Venom God alive, but they did lose the Lord.
Oh, what a clutch as well. GPX, they know they lost out the lane advantage, and in the split-second decision, they force a fight Euphoria, threatened them, forcing them to back out just because they did not have the HP, and because of this, they secured the Lord. And meanwhile, Venom God, he was able to trade a kill on wall, but it doesn't matter. Objective is key, but now with the Divine Judgment in play.
Putting Venom God back again, but he is just unkillable, unbreakable on the side of Euphoria. The Fredo QT ends up going down. Didn't have the flicker early on. GPX with the Lord, they need to break that mid-tier 1, but they could not do it.
Appraisal's draft, just a force to be reckoned with, and this is the problem here. GPX, they do have a little bit of problem in terms of damage, but eventually now, they are looking for Hands God. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to get it because they do force the heavy spin. But the question here coming from GPX is, do they have the damage to shred through Venom God's armor? Because as of yet, pay attention to the damage output here. Ryujin God and his God is pretty much top of the network. But what? Let's look at his items real quick as well. He's got the Fury Hammer, he's got the Blade Reserve, and the Malefic Raw. None of this are tank shredder itemizations, and he needs those DHS in order to try and chunk through Venom God. And this is going to be a problem. Even with DHS, is it enough to actually kill the Fredrin? And even then, do you go for more damage or do you go for more sustainability? Because either or, you are going to be easily one-shotted by a potential Heap or maybe even Benedetta.
Yeah, there's no damage to honestly take out the Fredrin effectively. Not in a short period of time. Bot tier 2 will go down thanks to Venom God. He is basically kind of the bulwark for Euphoria. 3,000 goal advantage. GPX keeping this mid-tier 1 alive. What has to be really careful with Euphoria. They have multiple ways to get on top of him. Yoshi God opening up the map, just making sure he pushed GPX out of those brushes. So far, it's still a gridlock in this mid lane.
Oh, it's all about the waiting game. It's all about the waiting game. And Venom God, he just got his Twilight Armor. That is a huge item pickup. We have a little bit buff onto his Twilight Armor because we talked about how Fredrin has to remove the damage, but it is recompensated with this Twilight Armor. So it is going to contribute a little bit more. But as of yet, Ziri got a little bit of awkward position, but it's the wrong target still.
Oh, and the Moskov also spotting out where GPX are. Actually connecting onto Ray with that ulti. And GPX forced to recall what as well to deal with that top wave, which early on was set up by Shizo when the Lord fight was happening. So GPX right now, they have a lot to consider. And you gotta start with taking control of the Lord pit 10 seconds before the next Lord spawns.
No, it's tough. It's tough. You can see GPX every single time they need to go in for those lane checks, knowing that Headsguard is always shoving the lane, and because of this, it's putting them in awkward situations where they have to go on instinct to go for a dive. In this case, Euphoria Esports, they just all they gotta do is just bait this out, let him do his own thing, but eventually they are gonna focus fire for the Lord.
And they see what showed up in the bot side. It means it's full Lord commitment. Ray goes in, heavy spin, can't get the Lord. But can they at least get a couple of trades onto Euphoria? Ziri is already doing a really good job. They get the Divine Judgment, take out Shizo, take out Yoshi. Shizo dropping low. Ziri, one it away, finds the Moskov. GPX gets no Lord, but finds 2 kills.
Oh, huge. They took down the Moskov, but it's not over yet.
God still surviving, able to keep the rest of GPX away. Silver lining for Euphoria to get the Lord, so GPX will now need to defend once more. God going forward, fighting Kribo. That is a very big target. He's trying to fly away, but God just right on the money, sticking on him, taking down the Farsa. Ziri forced to use the split again, but Ray, he also finds himself in danger. Doesn't have the heavy spin. God, so great on this Fredrin. Basically unkillable.
Oh, so smart coming from Euphoria Esports. As soon as they see Watt showing himself down in the bottom, and Venogod, he understands that the only person that can actually truly kill him is the Beatrix. And as soon as Watt shows himself down bottom, so far away from the rest of his teammates from GPX, forces fight, get a couple kills, and this is huge because now it is going to transition and tally out for potential more map control. And while all this is happening, it is going to have Shizugot have so much space on the top side to get the farm necessary to scale into this game. And this is where Moskov will shine the brightest in the later stage of the game compared to a Beatrix.
So far, if you're looking for an MVP from Euphoria Esports, it's 100% Venogod. This Fredrin, we doubted it a bit. Lowest win rate, even though with the highest pick rate, and here it is, Venogod making him work like a charm.
Interesting enough. Wait, what? Huh? What? Not even going for the DHS at all. Not even going for a helper to actually deal with the HP thickness of Venogod. And this is a problem because eventually they don't have the damage chunking through, and this is actually helping Venogod look even stronger.
Use the conceal. Yoshi God is the target. Slowing him down. Yoshi God taking the initiative. You want to drag me? Well, how about I kick you first to get rid of the Fredo QT. No more Divine Judgment. Ziri in the thick of things, taking onto the members of Euphoria. Drag underneath the tier 2. He's given no quarter at all. 2 members down from GPX. They were not ready to fight that.
Oh, wrong target coming from Ziri, and all the targets you catch, it had to be Headsguard who can completely bait you out of the combo after the split. And because of this, Euphoria East was in a comfortable position to threaten end game because with 5 seconds on the silence from Fredo QT, Ziri 18 seconds as well. It's going to be a tough one as well. Imperials are going to fall. Euphoria, they are going to throw bodies for this wave clear, and they might be able to get away with it, but it seems like they will respect it and back out.
2 inhibitors down, GPX on the back foot. This is the first ever time we see GPX as a team being put so far behind. Lord had just spawned, the members of GPX just respawned. Fredo QT got their Winter Trunkin. That is going to be very important if he gets kicked away by Yoshi-God once more, but GPX needs to find a way to get to the Lord. They need this Lord for themselves. Yoshi-God's not going to make it easy. Ray looking for a heroic moment. He's not going to find it. This Lord done and dusted for Euphoria. Ziri getting kicked. Split used. GPX in the back foot. Ziri forced to run away. No opening for GPX to even fight Euphoria.
Oh, it's tough. It is indeed tough here coming from GPX, but Euphoria Esports doing a fantastic job and isolating the fight. They know for a fact that as long as this Archive doesn't get in the pit, they will eventually come up on top, and they've got so many tools to keep it in play even with the heavy spin. Yujin got preemptively dropping the Revolution to try and zone him out, and as soon as they got the job done, Euphoria Esports, they know that, hey, even if Ray comes in, it's not really a big threat because it is still a setup for his teammates to actually go in for the fight. And in this case, who's the setup for? It's going to be for Kribu, it's going to be for what? And so far, none of these players can actually kill Venogod. So this is huge for Euphoria Esports.
And Kribu almost gets taunt. Forced to use the Purify. Euphoria Esports, one last attempt to get onto the base. Venogod almost gets knocked into the fountain, but that Crystal is dropping so low. Lord doing well. Euphoria, gods for a reason. so far, still not able to take down GPX. GPX keeping the base alive. Ziri very far back. He has done the best of his capabilities, but it's not sufficient. Euphoria now having the man advantage. 40 seconds before the glue comes back. One final push from Euphoria. Getting the kick, Redo QT, not able to get a drag back. The crystal so low. Euphoria just taking their time, waiting for the opportunity. Better airstrike used as well. His God able to get away. Shizo God also keeping himself safe. Real world manipulation used as well. Euphoria going for the end game. And the gods reign supreme. The first team to take down GPX, to gift them the very first loss. And Euphoria deserves this celebration. First team to make it to top 4.
Oh, Panda buffs coming from Euphoria Esports as they fight for the Filipino pride, the Pinoy pride. In this case, they are the strongest ones so far. And as of yet, Euphoria Philippines wins